very good. They feel they had a very strong night, that she was.
And good morning. Welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. Let me make sure I'm not broadcasting that over the air. Okay, there we go. All right. When I have extra buttons to push, it sometimes gets complicated. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
So in the studio this morning, let me pull up my notes here real quick so I get this all right. Water Street Glassworks. And until I scheduled you to come in and talk, I wasn't sure how many words that was. Was it 3 words? Was it 4 words? Was it 2 words? But it's 3 words. Water Street, because it's Water Street. Yes. Glassworks.
Correct.
You got it.
And so here from Water Street Glassworks, Eli Zilke, who's an instructor and production designer. Is that still your title? Is that right?
Yeah, more or less.
It's on the website, so I figured it's okay. And then Becky Weimer.
Yeah.
Instructor at Water Street Glassworks as well.
Yeah.
And I ran into you at one of the artisan fairs and said, hey, would you like to come on the radio? And you said, no way.
And here I am.
And here you are. So thank you for agreeing, and thank you for bringing in Eli.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are things?
Wonderful.
Great. We're excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here, and you brought something. What is that?
Oh, a little gift for you.
Yeah. Oh, no, it isn't. Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of our products that we make. Our pumpkin preview event is kind of one of our bigger fundraisers for the year.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Show people on the video live stream. Oh, yeah. This is beautiful. Okay, so talk about the event.
So it's this Thursday, the 12th.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
yeah. Tomorrow,
wow. From 5 to 8.
Look at this. This is
beautiful. Will have live demos. We will have opportunities for you can sign up via our website for a design your own experience where you work with our craftsmen to design a pumpkin and watch it being blown right in front of you.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
is this really for me? It says each one is a one-of-a-kind blown glass pumpkin, expertly handcrafted by our talented artists. Very nice. And did you do this one?
Yeah. We do. Okay. Somewhere between 600 and 800 a year. Wow. Yeah. Like I said, it is one of our bigger fundraisers, and pumpkins just seem to be a popular item over the years. So
people collect them. They come every year and get a new design, which Eli works hard to make sure they're different every year.
Yeah. And this year, was a kind of a different year in that we really strove to use a lot of recycled glass. So throughout the year, we're teaching classes and making production in the studio. There's a margin that is waste, and we try to collect all that waste. And so most of the pumpkins this year, I would say 75% of the pumpkins were made with that recycled glass.
Wow.
Which is usually a light blue tint. When you mix everything all back together. And we add colors to the surface, so you don't really see that blue kind of translate. And it's just a good way to not throw away a bunch of glass.
That is smart.
Yeah.
And that is fantastic. And thank you very much for that. Let's talk more about the fundraiser that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've got to get some news out of the way here, and then we'll start our interview. Does that sound good?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. We're talking with a couple of great individuals from Water Street Glassworks, Eli Zilke and Becky Weimer. They are instructors, and also Eli is the production designer at Water Street Glassworks. We're going to start that interview in just a moment right here on WSJM.
Cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is News Talk Sports 94.9. WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph. Depend on us. WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And taking a look outside, it's going to be a decent morning. We've got temperatures in the lower 60s around, the upper 50s, lower 60s in southwest Michigan right now. We've got the weather forecast coming up in just a moment, but basically it's going to be sunny and hot today, probably around 87 degrees for a high inland. Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom: St. Joseph City Commissioners are considering reviewing a number of local ordinances to determine if they can be updated to make life easier for residents. At their regular meeting this week, the City Commissioner Michael Cirola started the discussion by proposing changes to the Mechanical Structures Ordinance. It governs machines that might be located outside of a home, things like an air conditioner or a water pump. And Cirola said due to the setback restrictions currently in the ordinance, some homeowners find themselves having to move their air conditioning units from right next to the house to the roof or to the back of the house when installing a new unit. And given the layout of many lots in the city, Cirola suggested the ordinance currently doesn't reflect the circumstances of residents and that the Planning Commission review them to change the ordinances. That led to a broader discussion among the City Commission about finding such flaws with other rules. Mayor Brooke Thomas told us she supports an overall review.
I think we're recognizing that there may be some ordinances that need to have a second look and see if there's something that we can tweak. And so we're going to try to gather a list from staff of the most high priority items that we should be tackling first and just kind of take an overall broad view of things and see what we can start to chip away at.
Commissioner Michael Fernandez proposed the broader review of ordinances for possible improvements. Commissioners started by asking the Planning Commission to review what they have on the books for the Mechanical Structures Rule. A sign of the times for area restaurants. A well-known establishment in St. Joseph Township is on track for a business-shifting renovation. At the Township's Planning Commission meeting last night, representatives of the Pizza Hut at 2049 Niles Road presented plans for a smaller indoor eating space and a new drive-through area. Presenting the plan, the regional company's Chad White.
It was our first Pizza Hut that we'd built in 1972, and it's due for a refresh. And this is kind of the model that Pizza Hut wants to go by. And we just want to put money back in the community.
Officials say the new structure will be about 1,400 square feet and take about 4 months to complete. One significant change, they will have no dine-in facilities.
With everything the way they shifted, it just doesn't work here. So we just want to be more efficient at this location.
The planning board voted to approve the plan. Separate from this location, representatives indicated there's also a plan to improve the Berrien Springs Pizza Hut location. Pizza Hut, you ever have the buffet there? It's been years, but you had it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And the problem is it's been years since you had it.
Yeah, right.
So, with COVID and everything else, they're saying, well, the all-you-can-eat buffet or the open buffet area and the salad bar and that kind of stuff, not as popular with consumers anymore.
Yeah.
So they're changing their footprint and saying, so I assume we're going to see this probably at more national chains, maybe some more local chains as well. All right. More news coming up. Acting U.S. Secretary of Labor Julie Su will be in Southwest Michigan today. The U.S. Labor Department says she's coming to Michigan as part of her Good Jobs Summer Tour to talk about improving job quality and advocate for workers. First, she'll be in Lansing. Later, she'll stop in Lawrence. Sue will visit the Michigan Works Berrien Cass Van Buren location, a recipient of the Labor Department's Apprenticeship Building America program. Through that program, Michigan Works provides resources to build a skilled workforce with education and training for employers. Sue will highlight that work with her stop. She'll also stop at the Van Buren Vocational Tech School and take part in a roundtable discussion with local leaders. The Labor Department says it's committed to creating multiple pathways for good jobs for every worker to strengthen opportunity infrastructure. And somebody who's been working a very long time at a location, the Van Buren County Road Commission is celebrating longtime outstanding service from an employee of theirs. Randy Mosier is celebrating 45 years of service at the Road Commission. And since being first employed with the Road Commission as a seasonal and road maintenance person back in May of 1979, Mosier said his time there has been amazing.
The fact that I really like my job and I like the type of working outside. I wouldn't want to have been stuck in a factory or something. I was raised on a small dairy farm and, I was always outside there.
Mosier, as the road maintenance employee, performs a variety of duties, including snow removal, mowing, culvert installations, just to name a few. When asked what the biggest difference was from when he first started till now, he noted technology.
I would have to say the machinery, trucks, and all the other machines that we have they've advanced so much from what things were when I first started. And the condition of our roads are much better.
Road Commission Managing Director Brett Witkowski, who's also a current co-host here on the morning show from time to time, said it's a blessing to have Mosier on his staff and that Mosier is an invaluable member of shaping the group's positive culture. So congratulations to Randy Mosier for celebrating 45 years at the Road Commission. Can you imagine being 45 years anywhere in this day and age? Do we have that anymore? Do we have that luxury? Goodness gracious. Well, I mean, 45 years ago, I think Pat Moody was on the air here. So, no. Pat, if you're listening, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe you were. All right. It's 7:10. We've got more news coming up on the WSJM Morning Show. Sports is coming up next with Dave Wolf. We're going to start our interview with a couple of folks who are here from Water Street Glassworks. So we'll have that and other things. It's coming up in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
In Major League Baseball, rookie Kaitar Montero pitched Detroit's first
45 years.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that a long time?
20 is a long time.
20 is a long time.
20 is a long time. And we're talking about 20 years of the Water Street Glassworks. That's what started this conversation. So thank you again to Eli Zilke and Becky Weimer for coming in and talking to us a little bit about Water Street Glassworks. You're both integral parts of the organization there. So first off, tell us just a little bit about yourselves. Who wants to start first? Becky.
Hi.
Hi.
I was at Water Street Glassworks 20 years ago.
Okay.
I met Kathy and Jerry Catania, who are the founders of Water Street Glassworks, in 1994.
Wow.
Which was a really long time ago. I met them at a place called Oxbow, which is a summer art program of the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I was a student. I saw that Oxbow had glassblowing classes, and I was 22 years old.
Wow.
And I already knew that I loved glassblowing because I had grown up visiting my grandparents in Corning, New York.
Okay. Corning. Is that like Corningware?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It's like
Very nice.
Mecca for glass blowers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Glass blowers, but also scientific glass, anything that having to do with glass at all. So
Okay.
that was in my blood from early on, and took a class at Oxbow, met Kathy and Jerry, fell in love with everything about it, and eventually moved here from Chicago to help them open Water Street Glassworks.
Wow.
So it was just the three of us in the beginning, kind of everybody doing everything. Friends helped rehab the Hinckley building that they bought. They saved it from demolition. At that time in the Arts District, there was not a lot going on. There weren't very many people. And it took about 7.5 years of a lot of sweat equity and fundraising and grant writing to rehab that building and save it because the roof had been caved in. So then we opened, and
Now I feel like we skipped a step there because it was a lot of years of hard work to rehab the building and everything else. But it's like, who one day decides we're going to start a glass studio, a glass blowing studio? How did that
visionaries?
idea? How did that idea come about?
Jerry and Kathy are both from the area, and Jerry was he learned glass blowing on his own, basically. Now there are graduate programs in glass blowing, but 50 years ago, you just figured it out. And he did that with Dale Chihuly in Washington.
I was at his
called
studio in Pioneer Square,
Okay.
where he had a bunch of students, and I just wandered in there one day and saw it. And the next time I saw something so interesting was at Water Street Glassworks because they opened kilns there.
Yeah. So Kathy and Jerry had a love for glass. They had a love for architecture. They had a love for Benton Harbor, and they didn't want that building to go away.
Yeah.
So they bought it and figured it out along the way.
And just went from there.
The vision. Yeah.
Okay.
And also the catwalk that you mentioned earlier.
So if you've been in Water Street Glassworks, there's the front area, which is where a lot of the products are from students and others, the gallery. And so beautiful in there, but then, and every now and again, there's a bird in there, which gives me nothing but anxiety when there's a bird flying around glass objects, but at least it's not a bull in a china shop.
It's quality testing, right?
It's quality testing. Yeah. How strong is this glass?
Durability.
But you can go through a door there, and I don't know how often it's open or if it's always open, but you've got the catwalk. Explain the catwalk. What?
The catwalk is a balcony that you can look down into the studio that's in the basement.
Yeah.
And the studio is down there because there had been a skylight in that section of the roof that had caved in and taken the floors with it. When they bought the building,
wow,
the floors were gone.
Okay.
But they saw that as an opportunity to have heat rise, and to have a dramatic view of watching something that most people don't get to see. Yeah, but their other real vision was for education too. They wanted to save that building. They loved glass, but they wanted other people to learn about glass. So Water Street Glassworks is a school. People call it a glass factory a lot. It is. There's a lot of art being pumped out.
And we will talk about that in just a moment. We'll be right back with our guests.
Cover on Friday. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
I wish I were an Oscar Mayer, you know? All right. So if you're missing some of the conversation, you can go back and listen to it on the Facebook and the YouTube. We're having a lot of fun. Now, we're talking with a couple of guests here in studio this morning from Water Street Glassworks, and we have Eli Zilke and Becky Weimer. They are instructors, and Eli is also production designer at Water Street Glassworks. And Water Street Glassworks this year in 2024 celebrating 20 years of being in the Arts District.
Yeah.
So we received a little bit of a history from Becky, and I want to come back to you, Becky, in just a moment to understand a little bit more about your history in becoming an instructor. But I also want to bring Eli into the conversation and understand a little bit more about your role. So talk about your role and how you got involved with Water Street Glassworks, if you would.
I got involved with Water Street through the Fired Up program, the after-school program there. I was in, I think, 6th grade. So I've been doing it for 19 years.
Wow.
Came in the 2nd year of Fired Up. And, you know, you give any 12-year-old like fire and they're instantly just like completely mesmerized and infatuated. And that was really my experience. I you know, it's such an all-encompassing medium and, you know, really caters to my ADD because you can't put it down. You have to finish your project. And, and it really forces you to be present during it. And, yeah, I mean, from the moment I touch glass to today, I'm still, you know, just such a nerd about it. You know, I love, every aspect of it. But my role has changed over the years. I mean, I really kind of studied under Jerry in the glass blowing aspect, but more so in the instruction aspect, and really kind of watched his incredible teaching strategy. And he invested a lot of time helping me kind of develop that for myself. And so I teach a lot of the adult classes and now the after school program at Water Street. Just feel so fortunate to be there.
What is it? Tell us a little bit more about the educational component. Many people may not know that Water Street Glassworks is a nonprofit, a 501c3, and that, you know, you're in the Arts District. You offer classes in glass and metal arts for all ages. Why is that education component so ingrained at Water Street Glassworks?
Yeah, I mean, we try to, you know, cover classes in a broad spectrum of ways. You know, if you want to come in and you want to walk away with a beautiful product in a half an hour, we have a class for you, right? And it's not, you know, dedicated a whole weekend to learning it, or, you know, a 10-hour class. But we also do have those longer form classes where I don't want just a product, but I want a skill set, you know, that I've learned, and I want, you know, a skill set that I can build on in an incremental way. And so we have what we call our matriculation classes as well, where, you know, it's more focused on the skill building than the product itself. And, you know, I think both of those are important. I think one, you know, the experience-based learning, the quick form classes kind of let you know, it's like skydiving, right? Am I going to be a skydiver, or did I try skydiving? You know, kind of thing. And so that's kind of a feeder program for our longer form classes. And then, you know, my goal is that I get you to a point where you are competent enough individually where you can come in and rent the studio without me there. Or, you know, some supervised, but, you know, you're not getting instruction.
To take your skydiving analogy, I mean, you're giving me the keys to the plane. This is okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to teach me, and I'm going to have the confidence to do this, because I've been on the catwalk, the balcony that overlooks the kiln, and enjoying the heat, you know, because it's warm in there. It's fascinating what the glass blowing process is, what you do, because it's like immediate, and I have no idea what you're doing, but you're twisting the glass around, and that's basically like molten lava, right?
It is. And the thing about glass that people, when they're watching who haven't seen much of it,
Yeah.
every single movement and action that is happening is entirely intentional.
Wow.
There's nothing that you can't stop turning that glass because gravity is present. And so it just seems like a natural move, but it's very, very intentional. And that is why it's such a great teaching tool, because you have to be in it all the way.
That's amazing.
Or it goes on the floor.
And speaking of beautiful, I'm going to get up from my chair here for just a second. You brought something beautiful in here this morning that people have already seen on the you've brought something beautiful in here this morning that people have already seen on the video live stream, and it's one of the pumpkins, and it's a glass pumpkin, and it's a one-of-a-kind blown glass pumpkin made by expert artists at the Glassworks, Water Street Glassworks. Tell us a little bit about what this is and how people can get their own.
Yeah, so our glass pumpkins are all made in house. I think that, that's something pretty unique to our gallery. It's
pretty durable too.
It's durable.
Okay.
It's durable. Yeah. Is that we're not bringing in any outside work. It's all made. Anything that you see in the gallery is made by either our in-house artists or our renters, or the people that have learned at Water Street and come and utilize our studio. And so, you're not getting glass from, another country, or, you're getting glass locally and handmade by our artisan.
And you mentioned when we were on the video live stream that there's something special about this glass. Most of it is recycled.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, materials are expensive in glass, and particularly the utilities to melt the glass. I mean, we spend $2,000 a month in just the electric to keep our furnace running. That furnace never shuts off. So from the moment, we light it to the moment we shut it off for maintenance, a year later, it's running all the time. So AEP loves us. We're like VIPs with them, right?
That's great.
But, so we look for ways, how do we save money in other ways? And one of them is there is, a waste factor in glass blowing, and that some of the glass is attached to the pipe. And that glass that is attached to the pipe, it will never be part of your product. It's always going to be waste. You have to have it. So we take that waste and we throw it right back into the furnace and remelt it, which usually results in like a light blue colored glass.
Mm-hmm.
But, with pumpkins, you add a lot of the colorants to the surface. So the color of the base glass doesn't matter so much. And it's just a really nice way to not fill our dumpsters full of, glass that could be used.
How do you make this? This looks so pumpkin-like. I mean, there are ridges on it and bumps and
magic.
The twirly on the stem.
So, I mean, glass blowing in general, the best analogy I've heard is it's a mix between ceramics, where you're working centrifugally, like at a wheel. Blacksmithing, where you're bouncing in and out of heat, right? Working it, getting it hot, working it a while, letting it cool, and then going back into that heat. And then really like a team sport, because everything that we do is reliant on multiple people in the studio. I mean, there are very few processes that, we can do completely solo. So it's a weird one. It's not like, you go into your painting studio and you're a recluse for, 30 hours and you bang out a painting. There's kind of a social aspect to it. And so, we start with a blowpipe, we preheat a blowpipe, and we gather glass out of a furnace by rotating that blowpipe. And then we're building these in layers. And for most pumpkins, it's 2 to 3 layers of clear glass, and then separating that with what we call frit, which is a crushed up colored glass. And so, more layers offers you more opportunity for depth and, kind of optical interest.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, they're a fairly quick item to make, in that they're not easy to make, but they're quick. Everything moves pretty fast. I mean, a pumpkin is about a 15-minute commitment in the studio.
That's amazing.
But that's after
20 years.
20 years of getting really good at it.
So 20 years of getting good at it,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
15 minutes after that.
Yeah.
This is
'cause
amazing.
20 years ago, our pumpkins did not look that good.
No?
We did not make 700 of them.
No,
a
I'm sure
year.
they're littering thrift stores across the.
We just found one at my uncle's house.
How can people get their own pumpkin, and what is the money used for?
So, the first opportunity to buy pumpkins this year is going to be tomorrow night from 5 to 8. So Thursday, the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Get first pick.
And first pick.
Oh, this is the first pick.
Pick of
Okay.
the patch.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so it's kind of our big unveiling of the pumpkins this year. And as Becky mentioned earlier, they're different every year, and they're unique intentionally so that, you have to add to your collection. You've seen last year's patch. You didn't see this year's patch.
Okay.
So they can come walk in through our galleries. They can watch pumpkins being made that night. They can enjoy refreshments and
Silent auction.
and a silent auction as
Ooh,
well.
I
Yeah,
am a sucker for silent auctions.
Right?
What are some of the cool stuff that?
I can tell you there will be a basket from the cheese lady.
Nice.
It's the only thing I know about for sure.
Okay.
I think there's a golf experience through Harbor Shores.
Okay.
An Airbnb will be up for grabs. And then I think, what people will be most excited about are there some private parties offered through Water Street Glassworks. One being a pumpkin making party. So if you want to come in with a group of friends and do it privately and have kind of a little, event, I can walk you through.
Yeah, I can make one of these in 15 minutes.
Honestly,
and 20 years. Okay.
About 30 minutes. It
All
doubles it. But yeah, you would walk away, you and all of your friends would walk away with each, making a pumpkin and having that kind of, time together and time learning a new craft.
It's
And
like
a memento.
Go ahead. It's like a time capsule because there's air sealed in here, right?
Yeah.
We used to joke that, we would come back from lunch and it would be La Perla air, trapped into the pumpkin.
But you can only find that if you smash them. I'm not going to do that. That's really funny. So I might have La Perla air in here. That is really funny. Water Street Glassworks, it's 20 years this year, 2024. We'd love to know more about that event that's happening tomorrow, and we'll talk about that again. But I also want to have some stories from that 20 years. Both of you have been there for the most part of those 2 decades that Water Street Glassworks has been doing things. So maybe we'll come back in a couple of minutes and ask you to share some of those stories. Is that all right?
That'd be great.
Okay, we'll do that in just a moment right here on WSJM. It's the morning show. We've got some news to check in on, weather as well. On, let's see, we'll have ABC News, our WSJM newsroom. We'll have the latest from Michigan News Network for state news. And then Dave Wolf will come back with sports. We'll continue our interview on the video live stream here. So if you want to tune in and get some exclusive content, we'll do that right here on WSJM. Oh, no, I'm not going to break this thing, I promise.
What would you call a free account that helps you save automatically? Amazing? Incredible? Too good to be true? We call it Thrive Savings. Every month you meet your linked Thrive checking account qualifications, your cash rewards automatically transfer to this free account and earn a great...
There we go. And we're back on the video live stream for just a moment. What are we talking about?
We're talking about what to talk about.
Oh, okay. This is the exclusive behind the scenes content that you're receiving. Let's take a look at what we have on our video live stream today. Let's see. Stephanie, my wife, Stephanie,
I know Stephanie,
says, hi, Becky, watching while I drink tea from my new mug.
Awesome.
We saw her at the Artisan Fair, and there are 2 of us, and I came away with 3 mugs.
Yeah.
I drink out of a Becky mug every morning.
It's wonderful. I do too. Yeah. All right. Let's see. John Hawkins says, happy Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. Greetings out of Memphis, Tennessee. John is from this area, but he watches from Memphis, so he can get a flavor of home. Emily says, hi, Dad.
Oh.
Who's that?
That's my wife, Emily.
Oh,
yeah.
very, very nice. Let's see.
Impersonating my daughter.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she does not. No.
And then we've got a couple other. Praise Southwest Michigan says says beautiful, and Diane Mock says good morning, everyone. So thank you again.
So nice.
Yeah, we have a handful of people that we see just about every morning on the video live stream. But by the end of the day, I tell you, we get a lot of views. There were a couple of videos. One of them was St. Joe Schools Superintendent Kristen Box. She had like 1,200 views by the end of the week.
That's great.
Yeah. So anyway, so no pressure.
I watched it this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have 1,201. That's good. It's 7:30. We've got news coming up in just a couple of minutes. So how much time would you say each of you spend at Glassworks on a given day when you know you're going to go there and you're going to do stuff? How long are you there?
Well, Eli, a lot more than me.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, summer days are shorter. The heat, kind of dictates how long, we can kind of take that. Mid-August is a brutal time to be a glass blower. But in the winter, we can kind of extend our days, and I do that a lot through podcasting while making production.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What's your podcast?
Oh, that's embarrassing. I do a lot of Reddit stories lately.
Okay.
I just panel shows and that kind of thing.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, but love radio too as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is what we do here.
Yeah.
If you want a podcast, you let me know.
Yeah.
We can work something.
I love it.
Yeah. But I mean, so how do you start your day when you go there when you're intending on doing glass?
Yeah. So the morning always starts 2 hours ahead of making glass. It starts by lighting up all the equipment.
Okay.
So we have a reheating chamber that takes about 2 hours to come up to temp, and our kilns that sit at 1,000 degrees all day long.
Wow.
As we load. And then, like I said, the furnace is always on. So in those 2 hours, a lot of times it's not glorious. It's cleaning bathrooms and doing all the regular maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
And then we get in the right headspace to start making work. And a normal day of blowing glass in a team of 2 people is probably about 6 hours from as a length of time. And it's really dictated by how much kiln space we have.
Okay.
And when the kilns are full, that's kind of it.
Okay. Hold that thought. We'll be right back. I've got some news to cover, and we'll continue this interview on the radio. WSJM Morning Show continues.
An emphasis on to-go orders from the mobile app. Consumer prices are in the spotlight today with the August numbers due out an hour before the opening bell on Wall Street. The Fed will be paying close attention as it considers the path for interest rate cuts. Stocks were mostly higher in yesterday's trading, but the Dow slipped. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And it is a good morning. It's a good Wednesday morning. 7:32 is the time. Temperature outside is 58 degrees in St. Joseph. Mostly sunny skies expected as we get the sun peeking over the ridge here. Benton Harbor right now, 56 degrees, 54 in Dowagiac and South Haven. And in Niles right now, it's 53 degrees. We've got news from ABC now, and then we'll have the latest from our local WSJM newsroom next.
This is a special report from ABC News. The presidential debate. I'm Sherry Preston. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump on stage together, sparring on several issues during their first presidential debate. ABC's Perry Russom was in Philadelphia.
Both candidates asked about the top issues for voters, according to ABC News polling, the economy and inflation.
We're doing tariffs on other countries.
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses.
Abortion rights.
The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it.
Trump going after Harris.
They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat.
Harris attacking Trump.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
Afterwards, Harris got an endorsement from one of the most influential women in the world, Taylor Swift, who told her 280 million Instagram followers she thinks calm is better for the country than chaos. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:34, a look at some of the news that we're following in today's news from the WSJM Newsroom. Today is September 11. It's been 23 years since the terrorist attacks back on this day in 2001. In remembrance of those we lost, the 9/11 Hero Climb is happening this morning at St. Joseph High School Dickinson Stadium. The event brings together community members with volunteers and first responders. This year's event is being organized by Boss Services. The event begins at 8:46 this morning. That's the same time the first plane struck the World Trade Center tower 23 years ago. Alongside first responders, people are invited to also climb a total of 2,071 stadium steps to symbolize the 110 floors it took to get to the top of the Twin Towers. Owner Jeff Street says participation can also take part in other ways. We'll talk about that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. A coalition is coming together in Benton Harbor to address violent crime, often resulting from illegal block party gatherings that have been occurring throughout the community in recent months. The Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, the Benton Charter Township Police Department, city and township elected leaders, Benton Harbor or Berrien County officials all gathered yesterday to announce the new initiative. The message from Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety Director Dan McGinnis was it will take a whole community to prevent violence. McGinnis told us shootings can often result when young people throw parties in fields and parks and parking lots of businesses. He says police need to try to stamp that out. They're working on it, but they need the community's help as well. We'll talk more about that at 8 o'clock this morning. And the Lincoln Township Board of Trustees is reviewing some speed limits, and they're getting requests to actually lower speed limits on 4 different roadways. We'll talk about that story and more, and they probably will lower the speed limit, by the way, so pay attention. We'll talk about that and more coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. It is the WSJM Morning Show. State news. We're continuing our interview with Water Street Glassworks. That's on our video live stream. That's happening right now.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Ryan.
Okay, let's learn about near-death experiences.
We were going to steer away from that.
Oh, we're steering away from that.
No,
Okay.
Eli has a much better story.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Well, how about a short story? What is a short story? What is a good one?
I think a good point to bring up is just how glass got to our area originally, and that's through Jerry Catania, who started Water Street Glassworks. He made his way out to Pilchuck Glass School. He answered a poster while he was at an instructor at Michigan State University. And he answered this poster that, just kind of looked this bohemian kind of text and said, "Come learn to blow glass. Spend the summer. Come learn to blow glass."
Really?
And so he made his way out to what is Pilchuck Glass School now, but at the time it was just really a prairie.
Where is that?
Bellevue, Washington?
Washington. Yeah.
Pilchuck, yeah, because it sounds familiar.
Near Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, and now
interesting.
it's $1 billion, campus. I mean, but at the time it was they were hollowing out stumps and building tree houses.
It's more affordable that way,
right? Yeah.
So he saw a poster because you remember the matchbooks. Hey, draw this turtle, and you can get into drawing school. So he saw something like that, but it turned out to be legit.
Right. Well,
and it was a recruitment.
And back then, you obviously you didn't know. You can check them out on social media,
right,
and see, right. So
he
it's a big leap of faith to go across country.
Okay.
But during that summer, Dale Chihuly taught that group of students. And, they all kind of disseminated that information across the country. And really what resulted is what we know as the studio glass movement. And up until that point, really glass was made on a large scale in big factories, and it took lots of people, and the studio glass movement really kind of signifies now, hey, 2 or 3 people can run a shop and focus more on the arts side of things than the production side of things.
Yeah. That's amazing. So that's how, because I've seen some pieces come from the studio that look a lot like the Dale Chihuly study of the plates that are wavy, the big discs.
Sure.
Is that so? That's intentional.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think Dale Chihuly has bled into every studio across the country. I mean, I think it's impossible to not notice his contribution. If I were to summarize what Dale Chihuly has done is really let glass be organic. It's not about symmetry. So much of glass's history was about how perfect can we make this, how developed can we make this form. And Dale Chihuly is like, let's let glass do what glass wants to do.
Because it's goo.
It's
just goo.
Right.
And then you're gonna make it into this hard refined thing.
It doesn't want to be that.
It doesn't want to be that. And you can make anything. You can make anything.
It's so beautiful.
And a very artistic mind kind of balancing out the physics of all of it.
But when Jerry got back from Pilchuck, he took over his dad's Lou's Auto Shop.
Lou.
And it was on Red Arrow Highway. It was later to become the Red Arrow Hobby Shop for a lot of years.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and he blew glass there under the name Fiasco Glass.
Okay.
At one point, he was blowing out in the driveway there and spun his pipe, and a piece came off and he lit the field across from across from the shop on fire.
Oh, goodness.
And
Where Meyer is now.
yeah.
Okay. And he cleared the way for a grocery store.
Right, exactly.
No, really?
Yeah,
That happened. Okay.
And so he did that for a bunch of years, and then they eventually moved up to Glen, Michigan, and started a gallery and studio there. And then in 1985 started the glassblowing studio at Oxbow, which is part of the Art Institute of Chicago.
That is
School of the Art
fantastic.
Institute of Chicago.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, is the kiln? It must not be easy to move a kiln. If he's blowing out on Red Arrow Highway, is there still a remnants of a kiln out there?
No, back in the day, it was like, you get your fire brick from like a fireplace shop or old, ceramics, so it's not. Yeah, it was very primitive, I would say. It was like, what can,
because he said he's blown out in the driveway or something
Well, he
like
did
that.
have a mobile studio around the same time that he would kind of take on the road. And that's how he first arrived at Oxbow. He brought a studio to them.
Kidding.
They did it in the sand under a tarp.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there was a wealthy woman there who fell in love with what he was doing. And so they built a studio.
Okay.
He
used his brother, who's great at construction.
Bob Catania. Many of you had him as an art teacher in Benton Harbor High.
Yeah, and they built this pavilion, and that really kind of echoes what ended up at Pilchuck years later. But it's an interesting. Oxbow is an amazing campus with an amazing array of classes, but to blow glass outside, on a lagoon, it's a truly special experience. And I think Jerry recognized that and saw the value in bringing that shop there. And
because Oxbow had been a school of painting and drawing for 80 years.
Okay.
And then, but he knew it was a cool art school. So he brought it, and then it mesmerized everyone, as it does.
Mm.
And there was a nice synergy there because Water Street, throughout the years has been closed. Our blowing classes have taken a hiatus in the summer, and Oxbow is only a summer school.
Okay.
So it kind of, he did both. He kind of dual, ran both programs.
In a moment, I'll ask, do you have other stories?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. We'll do that in just a moment. And I also want to ask about other mediums that are worked on there, because I know it's more than just glass.
Yeah.
You've got some metal stuff going on there as well, right?
Little bit.
All right. We'll talk about that in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Thanks for tuning in on our video live stream. Let's see if we have any more comments before we get back. Some more good mornings. A comment about the Great Pumpkin. Yeah, let me hold up the pumpkin again for those of you who haven't seen this yet. This is beautiful. I love this. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course.
And the pumpkin event is coming up tomorrow. The first pumpkin unveil of the season is tomorrow at Water Street Glassworks. We'll talk about that in a moment.
With high temperatures in the mid and upper 80s. We should be in the low 80s with a lot more cloud cover on Friday. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
I am so glad that you're along for the ride today, because we're in studio here with a couple of fine guests from the Water Street Glassworks. I have a studio. This is my studio. You have a studio, and you can melt glass there, which is really cool. Becky Weimer and Eli Zilke are here. They're both instructors. Eli's also a production designer at Water Street Glassworks. Water Street Glassworks in the Arts District of Benton Harbor is celebrating 20 years of being here and contributing a lot to our art and to our culture and to the education of people who are just interested in that. And it's more than just glass. There are other things, mediums there, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say our heavy focus is glass, but there are a lot of different ways to work glass, right?
Clearly, get it?
Yeah.
Glass. The glass jokes.
I think glass blowing, personally, just because I'm a glass blower, is the most flashy and interesting. But I think we also offer flame working, and flame working is really nice because
What is that?
It's not as mobile as glass blowing. You're sitting down or standing at a torch, and you're taking cold glass and introducing that cold glass to a flame, to a heat source. And a lot of times what we do with it is make beads. And so we teach a lot of bead making classes, but we also have some small sculpture that you can do on a torch as well. And besides flame working, we also teach fusing. Glass fusing is the art of layering sheet glass like you would traditionally use in a stained glass form, and layering that in a kiln and bringing it up to a specific heat source or a specific heat level, depending on the level of melted that you want it.
Okay.
And so fusing is a really nice one because it's not, you can take a long time on a project. As I mentioned earlier, glass blowing, everything has to be done really quickly. Fusing, it's a little bit more methodical. You can take your time to make it exactly how you want. And then we also teach stained glass classes as well. And that's a really popular class at Water Street, where, you come over the course of, 4 or 5 nights, and you work with one of our instructors to learn how to cut glass, but not only cut glass, but solder glass, foil glass, and put together, usually a window or a project like that.
And if people are interested in the classes or purchasing the products that come out of the studio there, they can just go to the website or they can visit in person.
I mean, we encourage you to visit for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the website is the place you'll go to sign up for all of the classes. I encourage you to check it often because we add new things, frequently, and they go quick. I had a student who designed a bot to track our website to alert them when a class would get listed, just so that they could get signed up for it. So,
that's commitment right there.
Yeah, it is, and that feels great. But classes go quick, and which is a great problem.
What are open hours? Are they Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Currently, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And 10 to 5,
So that's when you come by.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And the website is waterstreetglassworks.org. And we were talking on the video live stream a few moments ago about Jerry Catania, and part of his role in how he brought the glass back to Southwest Michigan. So if you missed that part of the interview, go back and listen to it. It's on our Facebook and YouTube, the video archive there. It'll be up there after the show is done. But give me another story. Give us another story of the Water Street Glassworks.
Yeah, so a lot of our stories revolve around us going on these trips for the Glass Art Society. And one of the last ones that we did as a big group, we went down to St. Pete, Florida. St.
Petersburg. Yeah.
And Jerry was asked to do a demo of a process that he really pioneered called centrifugal casting. Centrifugal casting is the art of taking a sand and filling a bowl with that sand, and then putting it on a potter's wheel and throwing it into the general form of a bowl. And then
damp sand.
So it kind of holds its form, and then using a series of impression tools to kind of create a 3D collage. And this is something that Jerry's been working on over 20 years. I've only seen it in big industry, and standardized pieces over and over again. And he's doing it on these one-off ways. And he taught this class. So anyway, we were at GAS in St. Pete, and we
finish you do the sand and then you pour glass into it.
Into the bowl, and
turn
the glass, and centrifugally the glass gets pulled up the walls of the bowl.
Okay.
And so we were asked to demo it, and we, we're not going to take sand down there. So, and so we went to the beach, and it felt like such a heist. We took our hotel.
You're lucky you didn't get arrested.
Our hotel trash can, and Jerry had a friend there that he was in the Peace Corps, and they hadn't seen each other in 40 years. He just happened to be named Tex, which just made it feel like even more of a heist.
Jerry and Tex down on the beach with trash cans, grabbing sand.
Stolen from the hotel.
And I was the getaway driver. And they literally came running and hopped into the car, and we took off. And so that's how it started this. But we the day before the demo, we went to the Salvador Dali Museum, and which was an incredible experience, and you soak it all in. And Jerry's giving his demo in front of what I would say is 400 or 500 people, and lecturing and having this great time. And we're ladling into the bowl. And we used a potter's wheel that we weren't familiar with before. And our potter's wheel at the studio is governed down in speed. And, just happened to be that Jerry set up this casting that looked very clock-like. and he's talking and he's giving this great lecture, and all of a sudden his foot slips and the bowl spins out of the potter's wheel, lands on the edge of the potter's wheel, and melts just like a Salvador Dali clock. And the most poetic moment I've ever experienced in my life.
Nobody burned.
Nobody burned.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was such a great moment, and like literally couldn't have been more perfect. I thought, yeah.
You know, maybe watercolors is all right for me after all. No, that's great. That's so much fun. Was that salvageable?
It wasn't, and you know, he showed 3 bowls there, so you know, it's the process.
It's okay to show people how things can go wrong, because we always get accused of making it look easy, and it's not. It's not easy. You gotta learn it, and you mess up, and that's okay. That's how you learn.
Right.
So that was a big part of how he taught. You know.
But those conferences were amazing. We went to Murano as a group of 13 people.
13 people from Benton Harbor.
From Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Went to Murano.
Yeah.
No kidding.
For a glass conference, and it was just mind blowing. Yeah, because that's where, you know, it's been done there for 2,000 years.
And really perfected. I mean, the world looks to Murano as glass experts.
Yeah.
You know, the standard of blowing thin glass. Thin glass is known as being really great glass, really well, and it comes from Murano because they taxed based on weight, not on value. So if you can blow your glass thinner, you can ship it out of the country cheaper.
That is so funny.
That standard has stayed, you know, for all of these years. I mean, really, like when you're looking at quality glass, people look for the thinness of the glass.
And it was all because of the tax policy.
Because of the tax policy.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
And that is just a sample of some of the knowledge that you can get if you join the experts at Water Street Glassworks for one of their classes. The techniques, tips, the history, the background. Let's talk a little bit more in just a moment. We'll make it part of our Moody on the Market update. We'll hit again the pumpkin unveil that's happening tomorrow, and then if people want to get more information. Sound good?
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back with the WSJM Morning Show. It continues right here.
Rich Brand and Tara Halsey from Insurance Management Service, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and Niles.
All right, since we've got 90 seconds here before we get back on the airwaves, let's continue with our exclusive content before our Moody on the Market update. And are we hitting everything that you wanted to talk about? Anything else? What else do you want to talk about this morning?
Yeah, maybe we could cover Fired Up, the after school program a little bit.
You came through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
19
absolutely.
years ago. So it's a long-standing program.
12.
I was 12.
No kidding. Bless your heart. So Fired Up, what is it?
Fired Up is an after-school program. They meet once a week, and students learn either the art of glass blowing, glass fusing, or glass bead making. It's an entrepreneurship based program. So at the end of the year, all of the wares that they have made throughout the year that we vend at the Krasl Art Fair. And they get the opportunity to interact with buyers, but also just represent their work and the program. And it's a really nice way to get them more comfortable. They're the experts, right? And so it's a program that's near and dear to my heart, obviously, you know, coming from it, but it's also, you know, it's a program that's so rare in this country. There's 4 or 5 other after school programs like it in the country.
Wow. Only that many.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's a really inaccessible medium. You know, it's expensive to keep things going and that kind of thing. So the program is open to Benton Harbor teens. We have an 80-20, so 80% of the teens have to come from district, and then 20%, if we have room, can come from outside of district. And we like to capture, it's a 2-year commitment. So we, you know, as early as a 7th or 8th grader, and then if they are really prolific and want to stay on, we will have them as long as they are in some form of schooling. So if they're in community college, we've had students 6, 7 years carry on, and it's just amazing, you know, what you can see they're building in that amount of time.
That's great. Fired Up program. And for people who want to get involved, how do they find out more?
Yeah, I would message through our website.
Okay.
We are actively taking applications right now for the launch this year. And so if you want an application, you can call Water Street Glassworks at 269-925-5555.
Okay, hold it right there. We'll be right back. See, we're having so much fun on the video live stream. We just don't know when to cut back over here. But we're learning about Fired Up, which is a after-school program, and it sounds very interesting, and it sounds very involved, and it is a commitment, at least a 2-year commitment. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not a drop-in, drop-out program.
Yeah.
It's a program that builds on itself, right? So you need the skills that you learned last week to carry on this week.
Keep going forward.
Yeah.
And so and I apologize for cutting you off, but for people who want to know more information about that Fired Up program for the schools, waterstreetglassworks.org, and you can find out more information and then give them a call.
Absolutely.
Give folks a call there. But it's time for your Moody on the Market update. And your Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And we're fortunate enough this morning to be talking with Eli Zielke and Becky Weimer from Water Street Glassworks. And let's use our Moody on the Market update to talk to you about that event that's tomorrow at Water Street Glassworks, the pumpkin event. Let's give people one more plug of what it is. Reset for folks just tuning in. What is the pumpkin event and what's going to happen tomorrow, and how do people get involved?
So tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m., we invite patrons to come into our gallery and choose from all of our wares. We do not only just have pumpkins, we have pumpkins in multiple sizes.
Okay.
We have acorns and pears and other fall items.
So if you have a pumpkin phobia, you can get an acorn.
That's true. Yeah, I haven't encountered too many pumpkin phobias. I'm sure they're out there. Yeah.
Maybe we just coined that. Yeah.
Right. And while you're there, we encourage you to come out to the catwalk and watch live pumpkin making happen.
Yeah.
So you'll see, demonstrations. We have refreshments there. And then you're also can donate or purchase bid on silent auction items. Yeah.
It is a fundraiser.
Yes.
Water Street Glassworks is a nonprofit, and it takes quite a bit of money to run that place.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking $2,000 a month just for the kilns.
Right. The Fired Up program, I don't know if the numbers are still the same, but about $1,200 a year per kid.
$1,800
right.
a year.
So it's been a while.
Inflation, Becky, it's gone up in price.
So
funds
it's
helps,
a fundraiser.
Helps fund the educational programs and everything that you're doing there at Water Street Glassworks.
Yeah. And there'll be, close to 1,000 items to look through.
Wow. 1,000 items to look through. And then the silent auction, what I made note of is at the silent auction that they'll have there tomorrow, you've got, let's see, stuff from the Cheese Lady. There will be a golf experience, an Airbnb, some private parties at Water Street Glassworks. So a whole lot to be thinking about and to get involved in. And it starts at what time again?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock tomorrow, runs till 8 o'clock. And refreshments will be available too. Anything else that we missed today?
I guess the only thing is that we also have a special edition pumpkin. It's the first year that we've done this. And it's it's very different than any of our other pumpkins in that it's mirrored from the inside. And so like a traditional antique mirror, they're a really cool, interesting looking item.
Extra shiny.
And we only have, between 20 and 30 of them available.
What is the extra step that has to happen there for the mirrored?
So when they come out of the kiln, they go through this wash process where you use a silver solution and a tin oxidizer.
Wow.
And so you do it on the cold end. It's not hot while it happens.
It's on the inside.
It's on the inside of the pumpkin.
Oh.
And so, it's a process that we've been playing with the last couple of years, and just now feel comfortable enough to offer it as a production item. So, yeah.
Okay. Eli Zielke and Becky Weimer from the Water Street Glassworks organization. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations on the 20 years.
Thanks.
And here's to another 20 years. We really enjoy having you at the Arts District.
Thanks
so
Ken.
much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
If you need more information, just go to waterstreetglassworks.org. You can give them a call. You can stop in. They highly encourage you to do that. And they have the event tomorrow night. We'll talk more about other stuff. News is coming up from ABC in just a moment. Thank you for joining us on the video live stream. We appreciate you. All right. Anything else today? Was this scary at all?
Oh, really totally scary.
Eli loved it. Becky came in saying Eli's going to do all the talking. Let's put him over here. All right. No, thank you very much for coming in, both of you. And thanks again for the pumpkin. Appreciate it.